The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
Thank you very much for spending some time with us this morning.
Hello, Mo.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be up bright and early.
I do have to share that I think this is officially the earliest Krissy and I have ever started a commercial break episode, but we're all too happy to do it with you, Mo. Congratulations on the new special, Dad Jokes on 800-Pound Gorilla. Explain 800-Pound Gorilla to those who don't know. It's like a collective, right?
Yeah, it's a production company that, I don't really know. I just
Nice.
know that they do a lot of comedy. They actually produce a lot of comedy specials, although my special, I produced with the people who, we did the film with.
Yeah.
And then they came on, post Dad Jokes.
Well, yeah, we've had a lot of people that have had the 800-Pound Gorilla special, so I was hoping somebody could explain it to me, but you are like the third person who cannot explain it to me. So, there you go.
I'm like, I just know they're a production company and they do 100% comedy.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's a great channel, so go check out Mo's new special on that 800-Pound Gorilla. Mo, I'm going to throw you like a curveball right now a little bit. I find myself frequently in a Jenna Ray hole on Instagram, and I know that you love Jenna Ray. I don't know if you're going through this, but I feel like I'm going through the 4 stages of Jenna. At first you find it, and for those of you who don't know, Jenna Ray is an Instagram creator who does some of maybe the most unintentionally hilarious videos out there, but I feel like they're satire at first, and then I realize that they're not satire, and I think I'm in the 3rd stage where I actually think she might be right about some of the shit
you don't know.
She says. And
did you say Jenna Gray or Jenna Ray?
Jenna Gray. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Jenna Ray.
Okay. Because I was like, okay. I thought I had it wrong for a second. Yes. I mean, once you get to this algorithm, your algorithm sends you here, you can't, I don't know if there's any escape from, we might never be able to get out. But she has I'm obsessed for that same reason, because I was like, well, maybe she's an improviser and this is her character. No, it's completely real, which makes it way better. And I've seen some other videos of people impersonating her, and no, it's all in good fun.
You do a pretty good impersonation too. For those of you that don't know, Jenna Gray is the girl who does Where's the Girl Who, usually standing in front of a truck holding a big can of Mountain Dew Boner Blast or whatever that shit is. And it's too funny. I was watching your Instagram this morning. You did a pretty good impression, I do have to say. So Dad Jokes is probably aptly named because it is what would you call it? Like a docu-comedy, I guess, is probably the best way to explain it?
Yeah, I think people call it docu-special. I was calling it a jocumentary for a while.
Nice.
Which I thought was
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
And
but it's got 35. It's 35 minutes documentary and then 25 minutes stand up.
Yeah, so there's some documentary footage of you taking a pilgrimage, I guess is the best way to explain it, to go see your father, who is Punchline, in prison for the last 20 years. And so what prompted this? You just wanted to do something different, or was it really, I want to go see what my dad's up to, I want to face him one time?
Well, he wasn't in prison. He was in prison when we were little. Yeah. That hilariously, that prison that I went to go visit in the docu special has been closed down. I don't know for how long, but it's this beautiful building in Joliet, and movies and TV shows have taken place. I think Blues Brothers was taking place over there. Yeah. So, but the reason I wanted to, I haven't seen him in 20 years, and I realized it started with being why do I have so many jokes about my dad? Why do I always talk about my dad? Because I just was it's such a rich area to talk about your dad who abandoned you. And then because I had just had a child, I was just kind of I weirdly am having this feeling that I should just go see him. And he's never going to set this up. So I have to set it up. And of course I was well, maybe I'll just bring a camera and see what happens.
Was it cathartic? I mean, I know this is a stupid question, but was it was there some kind of catharsis about it for you?
I think definitely. It didn't happen till a little later, but like as far as like the way that I do my comedy now, I feel like even watching dad jokes for me is like watching like a different version of me. And now like I think my comedy has evolved a lot, just simply because like that's what happens when people do specials, is then they can put all that material behind them. But because my special was like so personal, I think just putting all of that behind me, and I mean, I really don't have any jokes about my dad since that special. So now I'm like, I'm back. Now I'm like at least talking about my 20s.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like moved on from childhood. Next decade, I'll talk about my 30s.
Yeah.
Chronologically, I've moved on.
I'm just like 20 years late.
But I read an article where you said this also. You say I was doing all these dad jokes and all this dad material. My first, you wrote a comic in I think, what was it, the New Yorker? And you're like, my first, published thing was about my dad. And then I'm not really into that anymore because I've kind of moved on, right? It's a different phase. Like a lot of comics do. They move on. Is it weird now that you have to come on shows like this and talk about dad the entire time?
I mean, I've learned that a lot of people, the material was so, it was so hard to tell in a regular stand-up set because it'd be like, wah, wah, or like, you just get to this point where people are like, I don't know if I can laugh at that. And so it's nice putting it all in that chunk, because now when I talk about it, you realize, because I was like, well, that's not relatable. And of course it's relatable.
Yeah.
So many people have like weird relationships with, like, it doesn't even have to be your dad, but like a family member that you can imagine, like, going to like visit. Yeah. So it's weirdly like the stuff I thought was like not, like couldn't be relatable in a stand-up set. I was happy it was relatable, but it's not like too sad where I feel like people are messaging me and it's like, which is fine, but I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to.
I don't think it veers into sap, right? I think it stays pretty on on the button, on the nose, and it's pretty funny. My favorite part in that entire thing is when you knock on the door of your child. I don't want to give all of it away, but she knocks on the door of like a childhood home, and the lady answers, who you don't see in the thing. It's like from a far shot. Yeah. And Mo just goes, I got my period here. I got my first period here. Did you just hear the door close?
The door closes.
Did that happen exactly?
No, like we were, the voice is just like the editor. It was so funny. But like I did go up to, that is the house, and we tried to go up to it and stuff, and nobody was there, and we had to get going. We had to go see my dad. So I was like, but I thought it was so, I just was like giggling thinking about the fact of me just like talking, because I did get my period for the first time, but like the last time I saw my dad or like went to, had to go stay with him, I got my period, which was like the worst. That was like probably the worst day of my whole life,
Oh. and I'm
so it's like, how funny would it be if I just told the people that live there? I mean, I'm lucky I didn't get shot.
I was thinking.
Southern Illinois, just like going up to people's houses.
So you grew up in Normal, Illinois, and you're one of 5, is that right? One of 5 children? Jeez.
Wow.
Good Catholic family, like my family. Good Catholic family.
We've had quite a few guests on from Illinois.
Yeah. There's, I don't know, something about...
How many siblings? Yeah, what are you guys in the sibling order?
There's 4 of us. I'm a twin, and I'm the oldest of the twin. I hold that 7 minutes above his head every day of our life.
Yes, as you should.
Yeah, as I should. And my mom tried for more. I think there may have been a miscarriage in there, and they wanted additional children. It just didn't work out that way. She had a hysterectomy after the last child. But it's like everyone we knew that was Catholic had these large families. My mom is one of 8,
Wow.
which is insane. And all of them crazy in their own special way.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's like so fascinating about siblings, is that like you can grow up in the exact same environment and be so different from this person just because of the favoritism.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That I didn't get.
I didn't either.
Where are you in the order of the 5?
So I'm second oldest. So, it was, there was a time where I was like definitely middle child, and then the younger 2 came along. So and then my sister had like a lot of issues when she was a teen. So I became the oldest, but I was also like, I'm not going to be the
Right.
oldest. Like,
I don't
I'm
want that.
actually have things to do. So
I'm not going
I
to
have
be
friends.
responsible for you shitheads. Okay, you got to do your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. When you were growing up, and then your dad, who you say in the comedy spot, I think I'm not paraphrasing here, was not a great dude.
Right.
When he left, that becomes like immensely difficult. I have to imagine. Does everyone kind of spray their own way, or do you come together?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a culture shock because you saw in the docu special, we basically we grew up outside of Normal, so in these tiny towns, and there was, there's no business in that town. There used to be a gas station and that closed down.
Yeah.
So it was like so country. And we moved up near Chicago after they got divorced. So it was a culture shock, and I was like so excited to go to Chicago.
Yeah,
and like, I was totally the kid in my own movie that was just like, it's going to be different this time. I'm going to be popular. I'm not going to be in 4-H anymore because they don't have it up here. I'm going to, and so I was so busy, and, I think that just like that helped me not really, I wouldn't even say like shove it down. I think like in a really good way. I was like so distracted moving to Chicago that I was like, forgetting about the country.
It was like beautiful
you're ready.
coincidence. It happened at the right time. It helped you kind of paper over what was going on. Where near Chicago did you live?
Oak Park.
I lived in Oak Forest. There you go.
Oh.
So
You
It's
always
so
have a
funny.
connection.
It's just not like, I mean, who named these towns up near Chicago? It's like River Forest, Forest Park. Like, it's just 4 words.
Oak Forest, Daily Forest.
interchangeably.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I mean, you got to imagine the people, the pretty white people who were around Chicago, fleeing the
Lake
city.
Forest.
Yeah, Lake Forest, Oak Forest,
Yeah.
Oak Park. It's, to be fair, it's not all that green for some places, so I don't even know why they say that.
Yeah. Yes.
You talk about your child. Is it Cleo? Is it Cleo? Am I saying that right? How old is Cleo?
She was just screaming. I could hear her upstairs.
Well-
Yeah, welcome to an
she's-
episode of the commercial
yeah,
break. I
us
have 15 children. They're all running. They're all running around.
She's 4 now. So when in the documentary, she was 2.
Yeah, she is adorable. But
Thank you.
So you and your wife had quite the time conceiving, didn't you?
Yes, I mean she was. It's such a great story in a lot of ways because she has so much love in her life. But we always knew we wanted to have kids, and so one of our best friends is our sperm donor.
Oh, nice.
And so he lives in LA and went to college with my wife, and he looks like they look a lot alike. And which is kind of nice because I think that like if we were out and someone were to guess like who like genetically, who gave birth to Cleo and has half her genetics, they would guess my wife. So it's kind of nice in a lot of ways because I'm like, okay, well, we picked the right donor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so does she see the biological father? Do you guys
how does that
interact?
work?
Yeah, how does that work? Tell us about that.
So yeah, he's like, he's our because he's one of our best friends.
Yeah.
He sees her all the time, and so she doesn't. She's like too young to really know what's like happening. But it's been in her life the entire. There's no wrong way to like have a baby, but like with ours, I just like I didn't want any. You spend so much time in the closet when you're gay that I was just like I just don't want any secrets. I want everything to be open if it's possible. And so just having like. And I mean in the way of like having like an anonymous donor too. I think I'd have too many questions. She would have too many questions. And I'm just like, if we can do it, I just want it to be like open.
That sounds wonderful.
I think
actually.
it's
Just a big,
fucking
loving family.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking beautiful because as a parent, you like, and I know you know this. Something changes, something flips. Your entire world is turned upside down in a lot of great ways. In some ways, maybe sometimes it's a little frustrating and irritating. But all of the sudden, you are laser focused with love on this being, if you're a good parent, on this being
And their happiness.
that you've conceived. And all you give a shit about on a daily basis is seeing a smile on their face and putting guardrails to make sure that they can make it to the next phase of their life. And I don't think it matters. I mean, it's how you get there. Do the parents in kind of encase them in that love is all that fucking matters. And so when you have to go through so much drama to get there, like, you know, you have to take extra steps to get there and you really want it. And then you show this child love. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I think it's also beautiful that it's open. Like she may, or, you know, she may choose to know her dad in the future.
Yeah.
And that will be great.
Has like, I mean, what I think is beautiful is that she has like all of these, you know, she has my family, my wife's family, and then she has our donor's family as well. All these people that just like love her. She's all these grandparents, all these, and I'm just like, yeah, it's so sweet, and that's why we're like, let's just have one kid so that you guys don't fight over all this love.
One kid is so much easier. Stop where you're at. You're good. It's all good.
I know. Yeah. Everyone says, I mean, I had friends that were low key, like, don't. Yeah. You know, they let me know, which was nice. But my wife was already like, I don't want another kid.
Let me high key tell you, don't have another kid.
Yeah, great.
It's complicated. Shit gets complicated.
Too many sleep schedules. I was like afraid of the sleep schedules.
Did you? And potty training and all of that.
But she's 4 now, so she should be kind of relatively sleeping.
Yeah.
But if your house is anything like my house, the witching hour is the worst hour of the day. Like the hour before bed, I hate it.
You also just don't, the bedtime just keeps moving these days where I'm just like, okay, full Taylor Swift Eras concert before bed. This is a very long concert. And it just gets more and more. And you're just like seeing her, like, you're like, oh God, I've been there. Like I'm this person when it hits midnight. Yes. And I'm like, I could write a joke. Wait, let me figure out that joke before I go to bed. And then my brain's still going. And then I'm like, let's watch House of Dragon. Just one episode.
I'm the same way, late at night. Yeah,
4 hours later. One of my daughters is the exact same way with the Eras tour, like that Disney fucking Plus. Fuck Disney Plus and fuck their Eras tour. Not because I have anything against either of them, but because it's every night.
Screwing up your...
It's like Daddy Eras tour. It's fucking with my brain. Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 4. So there you go. About to turn 4. So we have, our daughters are very close in age.
It really, like, that's the thing with Taylor Swift is, like, it's, like, obviously we can get the lyrics, but, like, I think it works in a way, the way that she makes her music, like, really, like, connects with, you know, my kid is just, like, she's very musical, but, like, I can't believe it. She can name any song. Like, you'd be like, what album is this song on? And she'll tell you what album it's on. And I was just like, I don't.
Oh, wow.
I can't even remember a lyric of a song.
Wow. This makes me feel better. Like I'm like my kid isn't the only one that's brainwashed out there.
Do we need to go? We need to like come up with some sort of group. Yeah.
Parents of Swifties. Yeah. We had a party the other day here at the house. Not a party, like we have a pool, and so we have people over, and there's a pool, and then in our family room we have this big round coffee table, which often substitutes as a stage if your daughter is anything like my daughter.
Right.
And so, and my son became the promoter of the concert that was going to happen.
Right.
Fully equipped with popcorn,
this is incredible.
Souvenirs.
I didn't know about this.
He went around turning off the lights, and we have this microphone that, like, you know, it just, you know, it's a microphone in a microphone. It does that. I swear on all that's holy, my daughter did half an Eras Tour concert to like 16 people here at my house.
Oh,
and I was like, how do you know these words? How do you know these words? And then I thought to myself, every night we're watching the Eras Tour.
Yeah.
As the brain is
you
forming.
thought to yourself, you know what? We put in these hours.
Yeah.
We put in these hours.
She put in the reps.
She's halfway to 10,000. She's not even 4.
She put in the reps for sure. I wanted to ask, are you currently touring?
You know, because I have a writing job right now, I'm not technically on the road, but I've been on Brett Goldstein's tour since last year. Yeah. So I opened for him on the road, and it's incredible.
Do you
he is like,
go ahead.
the best fan. No, he just has the best fans, the best theaters, the best ever. It's like it's not even fair to call it touring, because I know what touring actually is, and it's like hell on earth.
Yeah.
If I'm going out and doing my tour of stand-up clubs, getting heckled, you know.
Do you when you go on stage, you get heckled? Is that a true story?
I mean,
everybody does. I know it happens to everybody.
Yeah, we've had lots of people say that still happens.
It does, yeah, of course. I mean, actually, I think it happens more now because people just think that everybody wants to talk to you with the crowd work. So and I really don't. Like, I mean, I really have my set, and you know, there's times where maybe I'll like engage, but now I try not to engage because I don't want it to like open up this like, you know, I don't, you know, I'm very adamant. I don't care where you're from, what you do, or how long you've been together.
There is a whole trend that's been going on, I don't know, 5, 7, since the pandemic, it feels like crowd work is everything. Everything is crowd work, which is fine. There are some comics who do that really well, and they're very good at it. But I think you're pointing out something that's very interesting about stand-up comedy, is that when you're constantly fed all of this crowd work, then people go to a show and they expect to be part of the show. Like it's some improv comedy theater, right? And you're like, no, I'm going to tell a series of jokes and you buy drinks. And then if you laugh, they tip your waitresses and then we'll all go home at the end of the night.
You can feel it now in the front rows. You can feel those people, and like you can point them out pretty quickly of like who's trying to like say something, you know, who's like audibly saying something after your jokes, or who's like wanting you to talk to them. And you can see my body language. It's like I'm a teenager again and I'm trying to get away from the conversations. And I'm just like, I'm going to go over here for a little while because I know you want to talk to me.
Oh, that's so interesting, Mo. You can like feel the energy. Like they're eager to say something. Like they're eager for you to engage with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, it's like not that I never do it. I just, you know, I also have my jokes. That's why I'm out on the road, is to work on these.
Yeah.
That's why I did all of this prep work. If you don't mind, I'd like to share and buy tickets to my show.
Exactly. Exactly.
I went to, I think it was Pete Davidson stand-up in a very small club. It was like one of those working on material shows, right? And there was the front row, and the front row was really quite rowdy. And so there was a couple of openers. One of the openers was engaging with the crowd. He was doing crowd work in a desperate attempt to get them to laugh at anything he said. It was like one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. He bombed super hard. Poor guy. But then when Pete got on stage, you could tell that these people were like piping up, and he just like he did the same thing that I think you do. He like walked to the other end of the stage. He didn't even give it any oxygen whatsoever. He was just like, I'm going to go over here where it's a little less rowdy so that you don't get involved in my show.
I mean, most time when you're like opening for someone, usually there is like, I mean, at least this is how it used to be. It used to be this thing where it's just like, just don't do crowd work, because you can't really. If crowd work goes really well, it's like also really hard for somebody to follow that, especially if they want to do their jokes. So I don't ever do crowd work. You know, it's like if you point one thing out, like that's fine. Or if something's going on that's rowdy and you have to say something. But I have such like a written act when I open.
Yeah.
And I can imagine it would get hard to come back, like once you're engaging with the crowd, then to come back to what you originally were saying. So
yeah, exactly. They're like, we don't care about your dog.
Yeah.
Talk to us again.
Right.
You have been doing comedy for a while. This is like this special is awesome, but is not your first turn on the rodeo. I want to ask a question that I ask some comics. What was the first thing that you found funny? Like, what was the first thing you remember finding funny?
I mean, I can remember movies that made me laugh, really. I mean, you know, I remember I'm like a huge fan of Uncle Buck, and I've actually talked about it.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, like totally of my era, and just like, you know, Uncle Buck made me laugh so hard. And then it's really weird though, because I mean, you saw where I grew up. Like most of the time there was no cable. There was never cable. And so we just played, like my memories as a kid. Like I didn't even know stand up was a thing until like in my 20s. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Wow.
so it was like just with my, with my friends, those are the times I laugh the hardest. Yeah, exactly. Like almost peeing your pants.
I love that.
Friend is like food in their braces or whatever.
Do you think you find, because Uncle Buck is one of my favorites too, as is the Blues Brothers, as is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Do you think you are also like, I mean, everybody finds one of those movies funny, right? But does it connect with you because you know those characters? Like you lived in that town, you know those characters, you were around that kind of vernacular and I don't know. It felt very home to me. Like those movies felt very home to me. I knew that scene.
Yeah, they definitely felt they all felt like my friends, parents, and Uncle Buck. Like, I mean, it's just like so obvious why I love Uncle Buck, because he's like the comedian, the clown of the family, the guy that like didn't have his shit together and couldn't make a decision. And so I was like, even as a kid, I think I was like, I'm Uncle Buck. Like I was never the kid. I was never Gabby Hoffman. I was always Uncle Buck.
That is too funny. That, in my opinion, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Uncle Buck, John Candy's best work, hands down.
He was so incredible. He's just like one of those stars that like I'll think about him. I'm like, oh my God, I wish he were still here and making the funniest stuff.
He has like a total of 1 minute and 30 seconds in the Blues Brothers movie, and he steals the show by saying orange whip, 3 orange whips. I mean, just the way he says everything, it was so funny. I think you're right. Like I wonder what brilliance we would have if he was still alive and making movies.
Yeah. And I mean, he was in Home Alone, and he's like such a sweetheart in it, and so he had that great like. It could be really funny, but he could be empathetic, and he's so lovable. And, when I was like because I did some Second City in Chicago as well, and they had the photos of like him, in Second City, Toronto or whatever, like black and white photos. And you're just, it just felt like you were like amongst royalty,
When you do Second City and you are walking down those halls and you're up on that stage, is that feel intimidating the first couple of times? Like
maybe surreal.
I don't know. For me, Second City is it's like almost like like Mecca, right? Places where people that I find really funny got their start, or at some point along their journey made a stop.
I think if I still walked in that building today, I'd still get the feelings I had when I walked in the first time. I watched it when I was 17 or 18. I watched my friend's sister's graduation show, and I still remember some of the sketches.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I just thought and I had no feeling. I didn't think I'd be a comedian at all at that time, and I was like so nervous for her. I had butterflies, and I was like, "Whoa, this is so incredible!" And I'm sure, I didn't even think about doing that, but looking back, I was like, obviously, it resonated with me.
How did you get to Second City?
Well, I was like doing Second City and IO and Annoyance. I did all the improv theaters, and I was not good. So but I was doing stand up at the same time. I like never made a team or anything. I was like, if anyone had any of that on video, I would be so horrified. But of course, I would show everyone how bad I was.
So you never made it. How long were you there if you never made a team?
Forever. Like I'm telling you, I did all the classes. I thought, I think this is going to help with my stand up, and I'm sure it did.
What?
It helped me get comfortable on stage. I had the most stage fright on stage, and I just needed to get over it, and that was part of it.
I always wonder, we have a lot of comics on, and most of them say, if when asked, of course there's nerves. That's what drives the performance, right? If you're not feeling it, then you're dead. With maybe the notable exception of Joe Dombrowski.
Yeah,
who
he
said,
was like, I feel most at home on stage.
I feel that's my home. That's where I go.
No nerves.
You had did you have real stage fright? Like, oh my God, paralyzing, my knees are shaking, I can't get out there. Yeah.
I'm telling you that, my friends knew I was funny growing up, but most people are like that girl that said one word in class, very, very shy, so shy. And, it was give and take. It was and then sometimes I'd feel like I could be funny, but getting on stage, I I was like, I just did it. I mean, I chugged a few PBRs.
Yeah, of course.
And did my 5-minute set. And oh my God, for a year, I mean, like really for like 7 years, it was just like the nerves, like you could hear, I could just like feel the heart pound. And then eventually it probably helped when I had a kid, honestly. I was just like, who cares?
Yeah,
I can do this. Yeah.
There is some bit of perspective that comes with having a child that's really weird. It's like you start stressing about stuff you never had to think about, never wanted to think about.
Yeah.
But then there's other stuff where you're like, I don't give a shit because the second I walk out this, I don't care who I'm talking to on the commercial break, because the second I walk out in this door, I have mouths to feed and there's humans I have to take care of. It does give you some perspective. It like, I don't know. Like, why am I worried about this? I have kids. Who gives a shit? I have to worry.
Yeah. And your time, like, you do feel like your time is a little bit more precious. So I'm like, well, sometimes I will be like, if I'm going on stage and I, worked until 7 and now I'm doing this show, my daughter's going to be asleep when I get home. So I was like, did I miss nighttime to bomb in Hollywood? No, I have to go out on stage and at least have a mediocre set because I can't make this all be wasted.
Right, I can see that.
That is really sweet, actually.
I know.
It's very sweet. Mo Welch is a softie. Who knew it?
I know. Don't have kids.
Yeah.
You get soft.
I know. If you want to stay tough, you have kids. That's why I think we got problems in this country. There's too many people running around without kids or a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying?
It's so, when you like don't have kids and you just like judge people for their parenting in public.
Yes.
And then once you do have kids, you're like, oh, that person has 4 years of broken sleep.
Yes.
Like this isn't just like one day they're flipping. Yeah.
It is water torture. It never stops. I mean, in the most beautiful way, but the drip never stops. There's always something. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. Like Astrid, who's my wife, and I, we used to say this all the time. We're never going to be those parents, the parents that give the iPad to the child, the parents that let their child eat French fries from some shitty fast food place. When you become a parent, you realize that those were really fucking good parents and they were very smart about what they were doing. They gave that kid an iPad so he would shut up for 5 minutes so they could have a conversation like adults.
And you still get to take bites of the fries.
Oh, yeah.
So it's totally, that is worth it.
Yeah, but it's a constant fight in this house about, I want this, I want that. And it's like, that's really not good for you. Actually, you know what I found? When I buy the kids fast food, when I finally give in because they've been asking for 13 days in a row, when I finally give in, they don't like it. They don't eat it.
Well, they want the prize.
Yeah, they want the prize. And then they leave all the other stuff. And I'm like, well, eat your chicken nuggets. And they're like, I don't want chicken nuggets. I want a grilled cheese sandwich. Like, I just went through the drive-thru for this. I spent $30 on that Happy Meal.
I know. These kids, they snack so much. I'm like, I don't.
There's lots of snacks.
Yeah. It's just all snacking. I'm like, can you have one real meal this month? So
your daughter does this too? She just snacks the entire time?
Yeah, and I think she knows that she could break us. She already knows that we're not that difficult. We would give up so much information in an interrogation, like immediately. We'd be fine. We'll buy you McDonald's. But she's just, she'll do that thing where she's just biting like a little bite of chicken nugget, and then she's just like, okay, now I want a cinnamon roll, and you're like, oh god.
You're like, oh god. Okay,
fine, I'll make it.
Yeah, as long as I get some. Okay. Yeah. Before I let you go, I have to ask. I read a story. True or not true? Tell me about the time you went on Conan O'Brien. Did you drop a microphone in the toilet or something? I read.
Yes. Oh my God. My first time on Conan, I was obviously so nervous. Just what we were talking about. That's how nervous I was. I thought the whole time I was like doing this song. I was doing this WNBA song that I had to I memorized all the team names in a song, and I was like, I'm going to forget one. I just know it. I'm going to forget the Chicago Sky, and it's all going to be over for me. And so this is what I'm thinking about in my mind. And I'm like, I just like, you have to go to the bathroom like 100 times. And I'm like, okay, just like, I'm going to go pee one more time. And then I'd already gotten my 5 minutes until the stage. And the mic pack dropped completely in the toilet while I was going to the bathroom. And then I was like taking it out and like trying to dry it off. And I'm going over there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I dropped the microphone in the toilet. They're like, it's okay. And then they're like had to hurry up and give me another mic pack, and it was all fine. But it was probably like a blessing in disguise because then I wasn't thinking about my set for like off. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just like, wow, what an idiot! Like,
I'm sure you probably had the first one.
In the toilet.
Did you pee? Did you pee on the mic pack? Be honest.
The mic pack, what I had already peed. If it ended up dipping in there, that's on the mic pack.
That is too funny. Mo Welch's brand new special, Dad Jokes, on 800 Pound Gorilla on YouTube. It is funny.
Yes.
It is engaging. It does not get sappy, too much sappy. It gets a little sappy, but not too much
There's
sappy.
There's always leading to a joke.
Yeah. There's always a punchline. And it's a fascinating watch. I've seen it once, and then I listened to it while I was taking a walk. I listened to the special, and I thought it was really good.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much, Mo. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for being on.
We're excited for you. We're excited for your career. We know you have a day job, so we're going to let you go get ready for that day job.
Thank you so much. You guys are so fun, and I was excited the last time when I accidentally came here at 7:00 in the morning a few weeks ago, and then you were like, "Wait, what is that noise?" I'm like, "Hi, I'm looking for my headphones." 7 in the morning.
Well, this is funny. So Mo was supposed to be here last week recording with us, and sometimes this happens because we have a booking agency, one in London, in LA, and then we're on the East Coast. So
sometimes
it's not the first time to happen that the time zones have gotten crossed. So I'm sitting in the studio an hour and some change before we're supposed to be recording with Mo, and then she's on the screen, and I'm like, "Who is that? Oh, that's Mo!" And so
I know I got here, and you were like, yeah, that happened. So we're rescheduling."
So I explained to her, I said, "Very sorry, but we don't record this early, so I'm going to cancel, and we'll talk to you later." You were very sweet about it. Thank you for understanding.
You.
And I'm glad you got that extra hour of sleep. Mo Welch, 800 Pound Gorilla. Go watch her new special. It is something you're going to enjoy. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mo, for coming.
Thank you.